Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Carver gained ever-increasing fame. He was offered jobs by well-known individuals. The inventor Thomas Edison offered him a $100,000 salary to come work in his lab in New Jersey, but he turned it down to stay among his people.
George Washington Carver was an American agricultural scientist and inventor who promoted alternative crops to cotton and methods to prevent soil depletion. He was the most prominent black scientist of the early 20th century. While a professor at Tuskegee Institute, Carver developed techniques to improve soil depleted by repeated plantings of cotton. He wanted poor farmers to grow other crops, such as peanuts and sweet potatoes, as a source of their own food and to improve their quality of life. The most popular of his 44 practical bulletins for farmers contained 105 food recipes. Although he spent years developing and promoting numerous products made from peanuts, none became commercially successful. Apart from his work to improve the lives of farmers, Carver was also a leader in promoting environmentalism. He received numerous honors for his works, including the Spin Grant of the NAACP. In an era of high racial polarization, his fame reached beyond the black community. He was widely recognized and praised in the white community, or as I can say on this channel, no more black and white. Loved and praised by Americans for his many achievements and talents. Carver applied to several colleges before being accepted by Highland University in Kansas, but was refused education. Later, he got into Iowa State. There, Carver received his master's in science. Despite occasionally being addressed as doctor, Carver never received an official doctorate, and in a personal communication with Pamela, he noted that it was a misnomer given to him by others due to his abilities and their assumptions about his education. With that said, both Simpson College and Selma University awarded him honorary doctorates of science in his lifetime. Iowa State later awarded him a doctorate of humane letter posthumously in 1994. So let's see more and get more from the pros on Mr. Carver. Editor, roll clips, fair use.
He befriended leaders from around the world. In 1937, Carver met business mogul Henry Ford in Dearborn, Michigan, at a meeting of pioneers in the chemurgy movement, a branch of applied chemistry that was concerned with preparing industrial products from agricultural raw materials. Over the next few years, Ford and Carver visited each other back and forth and remained in close contact.
Henry Ford picked Carver's brain at every opportunity he could get. Ford had a big plantation in Wayne, Georgia. He actually built a school on the property and called it the George Washington Carver School. Had Carver come over and dedicate it, and whenever they met, they would walk around and Ford would just keep feeding Carver with questions, one after the other, to try to find out how to use certain crops.
The last time Henry Ford visited him, he was in Dorothy Hall, and he was living on the second floor, and it was difficult in going up and down those stairs. Henry Ford called Montgomery to get an elevator company to come out, and he put an elevator in Dorothy Hall from the first floor to the second floor for Dr. Carver. Henry Ford thought a lot of Dr. Carver.
Played an important role in his life. Due to discrimination, Carver had to jump from one school to the next before finding acceptance. He eventually managed to obtain a high school diploma after graduating from Minneapolis High School in Minneapolis, Kansas. From there, George wanted to move on to college. After being rejected by most of the institutions he applied for, Carver was finally accepted sight unseen by Highland College in Kansas, but they too later rejected him once they discovered that he was black. Feeling a bit discouraged, George gave up his dream of going to college for a while and instead claimed a homestead which he farmed alone while simultaneously doing odd jobs and working as a ranch hand to support himself. He did this for a few years, but by the late 1880s, Carver was ready to move on to something else. He managed to secure a loan from a bank and he left Kansas, making his way to Iowa. In the city of Winterest, he met and befriended a white couple called the Milhollands who urged him to continue his higher education. Although reluctant at first, Carver eventually relented and enrolled in a little Methodist school in Indianola, Iowa called Simpson College. The time he spent there had a deep effect on George Carver, not just from a career perspective, but also from a spiritual one. It greatly strengthened his Christian faith as he finally found a place which accepted everyone regardless of race and made him believe he was a real human being. Carver studied a multitude of subjects at Simpson College, but somewhat unexpectedly focused mainly on art, particularly painting. This had been a passion of his ever since he was a young man, but his teacher, Etta Budd, did not think that a black man in that day and age had a chance of making a decent living as a painter. When she found out that Carver was also interested in plants, she encouraged him to switch to botany and enroll at the Iowa State Agricultural College in Ames, where her father taught horticulture. George Carver became the first black man accepted at Iowa State University. Now, fully living his dream, he embraced all facets of campus life. Carver was on the debate club, the athletics team. He was captain of the campus military regiments. He wrote poetry published in the student newspaper, and 2 of his paintings were even exhibited at the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. But of course, it was his agricultural work that earned him the most praise. After presenting his thesis in 1894 titled Plants as Modified by Man, Carver graduated and continued to study for his master's degree. His professors were so impressed with his work that they asked him to begin teaching as well. His master's program saw Carver work as an assistant botanist for the college experiment station, focusing on plant pathology, which is the study of disease in plants, and mycology, which is the study of fungi. During this time, he wrote several papers on his work that were published, and they started garnering him a reputation as one of the country's leading young scientists. He completed his master's degree in 1896. Now that his education was complete, Carver was ready to embark on a permanent career as a teacher and researcher. He wasn't hurting for offers, but in the end he chose a young institution in Tuskegee, Alabama, that had only been established 15 years prior. It was the Tuskegee Institute, known today as Tuskegee University, the passion project of prominent civil rights activist Booker T. Washington. Widely influential and respected among the elite circles of American society, Washington wanted to set up a university that could provide a higher education for black people without fear of discrimination. He founded the Tuskegee Institute in 1881 with the help of donations from industrialists such as Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. Around the mid-1890s, Washington had entered the second phase of his vision for his university, which was to recruit the most talented black teachers and scientists in the country. Obviously, Carver was on his list, and he clearly shared Washington's vision. In 1896, Carver moved to Alabama, where he accepted a position with the Agriculture Department at the Tuskegee Institute, one that he would keep for the rest of his life.
Hey guys, it's Jose, your regular Joe Blow again, keeping an eye out and my ears open to Mr. Carver. Respect, sir, full salute. Thank you for all this knowledge and wisdom. We'll continue to inspire Americans in the future. Americans now and in the future. I think of Mr. Carver, and for some reason, Dizzy Gillespie comes to mind with his song, Salt Peanuts.
Now, I'm going to run it down for you. Some of you might not have heard Salt Peanuts. So if you haven't heard it, you don't know how it goes. I am here to teach you how Salt Peanuts go, being the composer of Salt Peanut. You understand that? All right. All right, I'm going to run it down for you now. 1, 2, 1, 2. Boom, salt peanut, salt peanut. Boom, salt peanut, salt peanut. Boom, salt peanut, salt peanut. Think y'all can do that? Huh? I'm going to do it one more time for you.
Guys, do your research. Look Mr. Carver up. It was fun doing this research. So much knowledge on him, not enough pages. So I'll leave it there. Thank you guys for your love and support. Let's continue on this journey together. This is beautiful. And we are just getting started. See you on the next one. Stay free.
It ain't hard to tell. I excel, then prevail.